And finally, and I do mean finally, the moment you have all been probably waiting for the last 2 months to conclude our From Software OST marathon, super marathon, really, because this has been going on since literally the beginning of July. We conclude by taking a look at, to this day, the last boss that From Software has put into their games, the Radahn Consort of Miquella. Now, because I sort of wanted to go into as much about this fight with no real spoilers whatsoever, but I suppose by this point, I think it's a little bit hard to ignore it. So here's what I understand about what's going on. Is that apparently Miquella brings back Radahn in his glory days, when he literally was before Radahn was driven mad and turned into a bloodthirsty cannibal. And essentially Miquella has decided Radahn is going to be my vessel, the thing I'm going to use to carve and create a brilliant and better world. And apparently nobody is better suited than Radahn. So I believe that's pretty much it as far as I know. I can't tell you if Miquella at any point actually joins the fight in any which way. But I do think it's kind of interesting that, well, because I know a lot of people are being quite disappointed about the idea that, once again, From Software has resorted to just copy-pasting a boss we've already fought as its final boss of its highly anticipated DLC. I'm not entirely that bad about it, because it's not the same Radahn as we fought in the main game. In the same way that fighting Champion Gundyr is not necessarily the same Gundyr that we fought at the very beginning of Dark Souls 3. Yes, they are kind of similar, but to be honest, looking at the two, one is definitely superior than the other. And I hope, to be honest, the fight looks is going to convey that sort of... I honestly cannot wait until I actually start streaming and playing Elden Ring for you guys, because I definitely want to be... Because of, what my impressions are of Radahn of the Golden Order and the Elden Beast OST. This makes me want to fight Radahn before we go anywhere near Radahn. Or Radahn, I should say. So, let the long wait finally be broken. Let no stone be left unturned. And let's go. I don't even want to say at this point it's like fighting a final boss. It's like fighting the real hero of the game, because this plays out like... Oh, I don't know. All of a sudden, it's like watching Justice League and Darkseid is about to conjure up the anti-life equation, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, Goku arrives completely covered in gold, and he just stands before Darkseid, and no amount of boomboxes, no amount of of Brainiac's henchmen or ships could possibly destroy something not of this world. It is the emergence, immersed in the rays of light, the true conqueror of this world. It's at least it's what it pervades. Because to be honest, Radahn looked badass in his when we fought him earlier, but here he looks absolutely like it made sense why he was chosen by Miquella. And I imagine this is like his second stage cut. Is that meant to be the colour? Well, I can certainly see at this point as to why a lot of people wanted me to absolutely check out the thought of me checking out of Radahn, of Consort Radahn. And something I am absolutely going to admit to each and every one of you right now is that absolutely the fight it looks fantastic. And I do really like the idea that actually maybe the thought of choosing Radahn was more for power reasons, and maybe that with such a force at her side, there was no way anybody was going to resist Miquella's worries. But I'm also kind of curious as to what was going on right now. Is what would ever happen? What on earth would happen to anyone that actually stood in their way? What would have happened if we did not stop Radahn or Miquella? It was probably. I mean, I know that a lot of people theorized it was because of. Probably it was either orchestrated through Miquella as to why Godwyn was murdered at the beginning of the game, but it's also not exactly theorized, and maybe this is something you guys can help me out here as well. How exactly does this thing what do you think is worse, or from a meta perspective? Do you think it's worse the fact that I think the fight for this is going to be epic, certainly when we get to it, or am I right in saying that maybe I don't know, maybe the fight lacks something of maybe a little bit of an X factor, there's no sense that Radahn is ever going to go berserk and lose his sanity once again because he is so completely under Miquella's thumb. And there's no real sense that Miquella goes berserk at the thought, oh my god, am I actually about to lose what I've been working for? This is still why I probably consider Slave Nightingale's OST the best all round, because I think his story and his tragic downfall is something that you can't really ignore, because it is basically the whole story of 2 DLCs. But this, however, maybe just with a lack of context is one thing, but I would be really remiss and entertained to know how did we get here. It's maybe one of those things where absolutely there should be an entire novel about the story of Radahn and Miquella and Godwyn and the rest of the demigods. Or even the story about how Godfrey even arose to the mantle of being the first Elden Lord. Did he drive out Dragonlord Plasudiax? Too many questions. But I think the best thing to do is to step outside and take a look around, into the lands between. And, well, I don't really know what to say, ladies and gentlemen, apart from there you have it. And I don't even know really what I'm even meant to say at this point, because as far as bosses go, and considering, well, unless there's anything else that pops up that we might take a look into, this is practically it. We have come to the end of our From Software Super Marathon, and I genuinely can't believe it. Here it is. And it leaves me with not much more else to say, ladies and gentlemen, apart from thank you. Thank you for being with us, and I can't wait, ladies and gentlemen, to see what happens if you come back next time. Take care, and bye-bye for now.